I just love the type of life it brings me, and I love the flexibility with like what I want to do and doing like the
Nice.
things that I'd rather do, and it just makes me happy. Like I could sit in my room all day and edit, and I'll still be happy.
Welcome back to the Corner Talks podcast. I have my good friend here.
How's it going, man? Happy to be back.
No, it shouldn't be about anything. Like, this is one life.
Yep, one life. Like, fucking do it.
My guy.
Like, she just got it. She totally understood it.
20 years old when I started just watching a lot of movies.
And it tells a story. I want to tell a story.
Today I have a very special guest, David Cruz, who is a content creator. What's going on, man? How are you?
How you doing? I'm good, man. How you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thank you, man. David, it's a pleasure to have you on the podcast.
Thank you, man. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Yeah, of course. Funny enough, I was mentioning to you before, I had no idea what your name was because you go by D2 on Instagram.
Yeah.
So follow that. It's very easy to follow, guys.
Very nice.
Yeah. You're a very talented individual, man, and I've seen a lot of your work. Dabbling into the as a prominent digital creator in the music industry. I believe you're also mutual friends with fellow creative Tyler Seller, right?
Yep,
You guys are,
yep.
Are you guys like close, or you guys just like know each other through business?
I know him because I met him when I first started at a concert creative event. Actually.
Oh, nice. Okay, got it. Yeah. That's how we meet a lot of these contacts, especially the ones that he refers on the podcast.
They're really good. They're really good to network at.
100%, man. 100%. You meet a litany of people. And yeah, like I said, man, as we exchange conversation over social media, I noticed from your online profile that you possess a talent for photography and video production. And it was very cool to see because I'm a filmmaker. I've started to transition more into the videography, photography space
most definitely.
Yeah, by building my company, 94 Productions. But my dream, is to be like a Quentin Tarantino. But it doesn't mean we can't transfer those skills, right? Into editing and video production, right? So this is why I'm able to speak to and have conversations with people like yourself, is because I took that leap. I dipped my toe, right, in that market.
Have to.
Yeah, you have to, right? Because there's just a variety of creatives, right? Like I'm always used to.
There's so many directions to go. It's crazy.
It's awesome, man. It's awesome, and better for us, right? Because it's a lucrative business,
Yep.
Which we'll get into more because I liked your story today. That I'll have to talk about rates and things like that.
Definitely.
Yeah. But before we do that, I want to know from yourself, like, what is your current profession in the media industry, and how did you become involved in the medium?
Currently, I'm a freelance. I do freelance. Like I work with anyone that's trying to work. Literally,
nice.
I just go out and I meet as many people as I can, and I got into it. I just bought a camera. And I liked it, and I didn't stop.
Nice.
That's literally what happened. It was crazy.
Awesome. So you identify more as a photographer, like you don't lean into videography, or you do both?
I started as a photographer because I was scared to do video. I was intimidated by like editing softwares and stuff like that. But I've leaned much more into videography now. I love it. I love it a lot.
Nice. Yeah, man. So videography, as you would know, right, as someone being a filmmaker coming from that visual medium, tells a different story than photography does. I still respect it. Yeah, still respect it. In my opinion, don't hate me on this, photographers, but definitely a lot more work involved in the whole videography editing.
It's hell.
Yeah,
it's hell compared to pictures. I pump out pictures like nothing now, but videos, I'm stressed. I'm sitting there pulling my hair out.
There's no preset for editing for video editing, but there's a preset for photography. If you get your settings right, you get that nice lighting. No, but I'm going through it right now. Like I'm kind of editing something for a client, and you have those moments, man. And I kind of want to get into you to ask you your opinion. Like, do you kind of get them where you need to step aside, you need to take a breath of fresh air? Like, how long did you
I've definitely had times where I need to take a day and just relax, because at the level that I work at, I like to push myself really hard. I like to work as much as I can.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'll just get so overwhelmed working on so many things that I just I need to take one day and just relax and lay in my bed and do nothing.
Awesome. Do you get like a creative block? Because that's something I'm experiencing now.
Nah, most definitely. Sometimes definitely have to step away and just chill and get back
that's
to
what
it.
You mean, yeah. Yeah, you get overwhelmed with all the projects you're doing, especially the freelance world.
I can't even think straight.
I've experienced that, for myself. I'm starting to look more into like more steady kind of clientele, but in the freelance world, it's fun and all, but you have to keep up right? With different kind of deadlines, but also different tastes, right?
Most definitely, and everyone has a different taste, so it's tough.
Yeah. And that's why I
Especially just
enjoy.
starting, because no one knows you for your particular work. They
Oh
just
yeah.
know you because you do work.
Exactly. And that's the thing, right? Which we'll get into, right? When I was starting off in the business, it's like everyone was saying you're creative, you're talented, and such. But when it came down to it, they didn't really distinguish your work yet from your creative trademark, right? And I was trying to leverage that in my rate. And I was trying to basically say, this is why you're paying this much, and also you're paying
And
this
that's
much.
what people don't get.
Right. So I wanted to ask you, so you posted on your story quite recently, and it touched my heart because that's something that I kind of been experiencing, where clients don't want to pay the rate that I propose, and they don't even, bother negotiating. They just ghost or who knows what, right? What's going on? What's going on with you? What's your experience with that, with giving rates? Like, you don't, is it fair on your end?
It's fair. That's the thing, is like when I compare my rates to other people's around, my rates are rather low for the quality that I'm putting out. And if you're going to complain about that for the quality I'm going to put out, that's crazy. I'm already blessing with my price. How are you going to complain?
Exactly. And you're doing this like full time, right? I assume.
Like
this
is my full-time thing.
Yeah, there you go, brother. Right. So like, this is what I'm trying to say, is like, it's a business. Like, how are we supposed to eat? You know what I mean?
And
now I get it. Some
clients don't
understand. Yeah. And like, someone once made a good point to me. I think it was my sister. She said, like, certain clients you're demanding a price for, they're like, small time. They're not like maybe bigger, like they're not corporate. But the way I look at it, man, like if they're a musician and they're asking for a music video, like that's in the interest of your brand. Now, I understand if I'm asking for 50K, it's like, whoa, calm the hell down. But if I'm asking between 500 to two grand, if I was a musician, man, and I knew this guy was talented and he lived in my area, boom, man, I'd pay for it. Are you kidding me? Goes on my YouTube, makes me look good.
And within reason. Like, it's not like I'm blowing my prices out of the water.
Exactly, man. Exactly. Yeah, I'm so glad we agree on that. And for you to post that, like I said, you must be going through your own kind of situation right now.
People are frustrating when it comes to that. That's why I try to keep it payment up front, because when it comes to that, people.
Yes. I want to get into that, your business model. So I do like a 50% thing. You're talking like they just pay you up front altogether?
No, I do payment. I need a deposit, half deposit to book the date and lock it in, and then the rest up front when I do the work.
Perfect. So it's the same business. Yeah, and I got that from just Googling it. And I said, what's the best business model to pursue? Because in the creative arts, it's hard, because they could argue like, okay, well, how do I know it's going to look good? And it's like, well, how do I know you're going to show up and not like, F me over, right?
Literally.
That's awesome, man. I'm really proud of you kind of for pursuing that business model, because a lot of creatives, especially in our field, aren't aware of that.
It took a lot of trial and error. It really did.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Lost so much money doing work, sending it out, and then getting no payments.
And I presume you are also having people sign documents like NDAs, things like that, like permissions, like terms of agreement, or no?
Not yet. Okay. I didn't. No. I haven't started yet.
Because I don't want to scare you, but you might get that one client, because I've had a fair share. But luckily I was protected, where they say, oh, I don't want you to post that. And it's like, well, you signed that I have permission to use your likeness, right?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, like, from one creative to another, just keep in mind of that.
No, I'll definitely keep that in mind.
It might sneak you up in the ass, bro.
And for the most part, I always try to make sure they're all okay with it.
Yeah, but that's the thing, right? Learning from experience, like I had more seasoned creatives that I kind of mentored me.
That's the best way to learn, honestly.
Right, but I'm saying one of the first things they said, bro, is get them. I don't give a shit if it's your cousin. Like, get everyone to sign it, because they could come back, man. There are people that have come back even though they signed it and said, "Yo, do you mind not posting it?" Imagine if I didn't get, bro. If they fought it, I couldn't post that, and it's my portfolio. Like,
literally.
That's another thing I want to get into. Like, people don't realize that the work we create for the client is great and all, but that's also an extension of our brand, and we need that. It's an
extension of ourselves, literally.
An extension of ourselves, but we need that to leverage the next client. You know?
That's the work that everyone sees that makes them want to book.
Awesome, bro. Yeah, no, and that's I agree with it, man. Like, I was going through with a recent client where it's like it was on the fence. Could you post it? Could you not? And I didn't really have that documentation I was just speaking of. And thank God I pushed and I fought for it, because I used that to get my next client. Because if I didn't have it, people would be like, "Oh, well, how do you have proof?" Because you can't go around saying, "Yo, I work with MGK," and not have anything to show for. You know what I mean? So
yeah, most definitely.
Awesome, bro. Awesome. So you know, we were speaking about your rates and your business model about acquiring clients. How has your experience been in the actual acquisition of them, like finding them, building connections? Is it challenging or is it
It's
smooth
like a
sailing?
lot of networking, like getting in as many
Yeah,
places.
yeah.
I think artists are
Upfront
gonna be
DMs. Yeah, yeah,
as
yeah.
many places. There's a producer from my area named Avery on the Beat,
Oh, nice.
and when I first met him, he drilled this thought into my head. He was like, handshakes get you in rooms. And that it's the craziest thing I've ever
Yeah,
heard. Literally, since
100%, man.
that day, I've carried that every single day. And I try to meet and shake as many hands as I possibly can.
Awesome, bro. Awesome. Yeah, no, that's the best way to do it, right? And I kind of learned that the hard way because I'll be honest, growing up, I was a little bit more of a introvert, reserved,
Me too. And that's the
recluse.
thing. This
Oh,
shit
cool, man. I
brought
didn't
me
know
out
that.
of my shell, most definitely.
Nice, nice, right? Yeah, because you kind of look at your passion and you're saying, if I want to excel with this, I gotta just go for it.
My
I gotta
God.
like really come out of my shell, or else I'm just gonna be in my mom's basement the rest of my life.
Mhm.
That's awesome, bro. And it's refreshing to know, you know, like creatives, I think a lot of us had that part of you know, part of our being where growing up we you know, maybe we're always in our thoughts. I think that's where we get our creativity, right? Is we allow that boredom.
Mhm.
We're okay with being by ourselves, you know what I mean?
Most definitely.
Yeah, man.
I spend a lot of time just in my room just cooking, and it's so peaceful.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, much respect. Um, so why is having a career in the arts more important to you than like having a profession, you know, working at a bank, something more corporate, maybe a government job that gives you security?
I, I just love the type of life it brings me, and I love the flexibility with like what I want to do and doing like the
Nice.
things that I'd rather do, and it just makes me happy. Like I could sit in my room all day and edit, and I'll still be happy.
Yeah, no, good for you, man. And that's the right answer to have, right? Like you're not doing it for the money, it's the creativity, it's the outcome.
At the end of the day, it
Yeah.
really comes down to the fact that I love what I do.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I kind of have to tell myself. Like you know, as much as I was speaking before about, you know, having my those creative blocks and like right now like I'm experiencing it too. Like I'm trying to get an edit, it's not really going the way I want, whatever. Whenever I take a step back, whenever I go back to the other things I've done, right? Or remind
Mhm.
myself I've been through it before, or just seeing past projects, like quite recently I have this short film coming out. I was saying
Yep.
to yeah, I watched it and I was just like, this is why I do it. You know what I mean? Like the end come I leading up to it, like the whole process in that year was like the same bullshit. Like, oh, I'm not gonna do well. This is gonna be a failure, whatever. And then you watch it and you take a step back and you're like, yo, like I got something. Like I'm proud
And
of
that's
myself.
what people don't get about putting out content like this. It's
Yeah,
nerve-wracking. Like it's legitimately nerve-wracking.
100%. Yeah, no, it is, man. And I'll be honest, man, I couldn't give a shit about the judgment of other people. It's more like myself. Like, can I
Nah,
look at this
literally
piece of
every
project?
time I just want myself to put out the best possible content.
Yeah,
And if
yeah.
I see the slightest thing, I'm like, oh.
Exactly, man. No, and that's how I look at it, right? It's like I've come to that point in my career, like I've matured where before I was like nervous, like, oh, what do people say? And then now it's more like if I put it out, will I be proud of it? You know what I mean? Because obviously I
That's
want the audience to
exactly
like
how
it.
I am right now.
Yeah, like that. Obviously, I want the audience to like it. You know, I want like, you know, David Cruz to be like, "Yo, that was sick." But
Hmm.
at the same time, like, I want to look at it and be because that's also my confidence, my self esteem, right? Because you're entitled to your opinion. Let's say you don't like it, right? If I
Hmm.
really enjoyed making it, and I really enjoyed liking it, I can take your opinion and accept it, right? But if I know in the back of my head it is shit because I I half-assed it,
Literally.
then it's like then that takes my ego out, right?
Literally.
No, so that's awesome. That's awesome. So it's going back to like now the clientele. We acquire our brands as creatives to help us to determine the success we will be able to potentially achieve in business. So that's why we, you know, accumulate these different sorts of clientele. From viewing your creative portfolio on Instagram, I'm genuinely impressed with your fast-paced and eventful lifestyle, from video shoots to on the road edits, and traveling abroad. How did these opportunities transpire for you, and which artist or event has become the most memorable?
It's crazy. It first started when I first started taking pictures. I just wanted to do as many things as I can. Like when I first started, I remember wanting to do a shoot every single day just so I could get in as much practice as I could.
That's awesome,
And
man.
it just started spiraling. Like I would just be working all the time, going place to place to place to place. So I would just have to bring my laptop with me. I'd have to do stuff everywhere. And my most memorable is I went to South by Southwest. It's a music festival in Austin,
Oh, that's
Texas.
awesome. They also have a film festival, correct?
Yep.
It's awesome.
And it was really eye-opening as to like meeting artists and seeing how things work, because I never was outside of like Massachusetts or New York with my photography. I never really traveled anywhere and saw how things were at other places. And it was really eye-opening. Like I just understood so much about like how the artists work and how to talk to them and how to actually lock them in, and just so much. It was a great experience.
The process, yeah, that's awesome that you pursued an education in it, right? Like it wasn't, I don't mean a formal one, but you put yourself out there in the market, like we were explaining about networking, right? And you kind of didn't just like, I'm sure you use YouTube, but you didn't just rely on like what you studied on the computer, because those are two different, very different forms of education, right?
Trial and error was
exactly
big, literally.
And that's the thing, right? Like like for myself, like to improve my edit, right? I could just have stuck to my, style 3 years ago and been like, this is how I do it. But I'm always like pushing myself, because I'm genuinely inspired by people like yourself, man. Miguel Sierra was on the podcast as well. Just very talented. Yeah. These guys just go fucking crazy, man. And they're like, you guys are much younger than me and shit. But again, I have to tell myself, in all sincerity, like I am a filmmaker in the sense that I never really like saw myself again as this content creator, like, working with clients and things like that. But then you kind of realize like, how far your kind of talent can go, and, the breadth that it could provide. And what I'm getting at is like, you have to just remind yourself it's like a constant process, a constant grind. Or the question is, are you willing to put in the hours? And that's what I've kind of realized is, it might not always come out perfect. It might look like crap in the beginning, but hey, at least you're pushing yourself to push the envelope to become better than how you were yesterday. Because a lot of people
it's always the start. There's always room.
Always a start.
That's the best part.
And that's the thing, right? I wanted to talk to you. I'm curious because again, we're very similar with our professions, especially. When someone asks you like your time or like how the timeline of getting it back to you, obviously you have a rough estimate, right? You know how long generally a video is going to take. But do you always have in the back of your head, or do you even voice it where you're like, it depends on how soon I get into that creative flow?
That's really crazy, because I've never had to like tell a client, but I think it in my head all the time.
No, yeah, obviously you don't want to like tell them like
the video for like a week and a half.
Yeah, man. Obviously you don't want to like freak them out, but like, see how you said that? It's like, for me, man, like that's the biggest thing. Like once I'm in the creative flow, done. Like I'll finish it probably
literally in a couple hours.
Exactly. But it's like this video now, I'm talking just before the podcast I'm doing for a client. Holy shit, man. Like took me 4 hours just to figure out the songs and the transitions. And then I was like,
it really is such a grind.
Oh man, it's crazy. And I was like, as creatives, we're tortured souls, like beating myself up, like, what the fuck you think you're doing this profession? Like, and bad self-talk, bad Daniel. But
literally,
you know what I mean? But we need that positive talk, man, because we got to remind ourselves, like, man, I can't tell you how every project I do, it's always the same shit. Oh man, it's taking too long. Why is it always like this? And at the end, this is actually my best work.
So happy.
Right? Yeah, client loves it.
The joy I have when I press export is the craziest thing ever.
Yeah. Yo, I don't know. Yeah, export. Well, no, who stays and watches the like upload time? But what I'm saying is, like, when I press export, I fucking jet out of that room and say, like, I don't want to look at it ever again. Yeah,
same as
you're
when
happy,
the
but you're also
gets
like,
the video
you need
and
that
tells
break.
me they like it.
Yeah, that's awesome, bro. Well, did these associations with influencers and celebrities like help establish your industry for developing future projects? I'm sure they did.
Most
right?
definitely.
Yeah.
Most definitely. Austin, going to Austin, Texas, I met a couple New York drill rappers. Nice. And now I've been locking in with their people. I've been trying to get more gigs with them. I met a lot of people that I'm gonna do work with in the future. That's gonna help me out.
Awesome. Yeah. That's great to hear, man. And that's what it is. It's just like a constant, like, domino effect. Like this person knows that person. And then there's that one guy that changes your whole life, right?
It's crazy.
You never know where it's coming, right? So why I noticed on Instagram you have like a whole fashion look, outfit, a statement rather. And why are your prevalent brash, like, why is this so important to your brand, your image on social media? Yeah.
Honestly, I've always just been like a picture like even before I picked up a camera, Instagram pictures was just my favorite thing to do. Like I was always my friend's
That
Instagram
was your
picture
thing.
person. Like I took all my friends' Instagram pictures. And I don't know, it's just always it's just carried over. Like that's what started my love for photography, I feel like.
That's awesome. So yeah, you were the original like Instagram model per se, right? Or Instagram user.
Yeah, for my
posting
friends, I always took all their pictures.
posting pictures of yourself, right?
Need
Yeah.
to.
Well, that's how you, yeah, that's how you kind of like,
The
develop
face
the
got to
brand.
be just as known as the brand.
Exactly, man. That's so smart. Well, that's why it was quite noticeable to me, right? I picked it out is because usually you would see your videos, your clips, your portfolio, which I wanted to ask you, but instead I just see 3 photos of your you wearing the like very eccentric, unique attire. Why aren't you
Mhm.
posting like your portfolio, man? Like, is there a reason?
I post it on a daily basis just to tag, but I just really keep everything on like another page just to dump work. I haven't like figured out a way that I want to build like the portfolio. I just been dumping it on a page.
Oh, I get it. So like it's just urgent for you. Like you're not adamant about
Mhm.
like kind of putting it out. You're just more focused on building the business, getting your name out there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Bro, you're what a creative, because I'll get into this now. A lot of colleagues that I've dealt with will say like, why can't you post this now? I'm like, no, like there's a whole like setup. There's a whole like thought process behind like my posts, and like everything needs to come match aesthetically. And they're like, you're crazy.
Most
No one gives a
definitely.
shit. But it's like people give a shit, man. Like people like
No, they
David
do. They
Cruz.
really do. The
Yeah.
way your Instagram looks means something.
Yeah. And I've been told that, right? Like it's aesthetically pleasing, right? That's why like every
Mhm.
row has like its own section, like its own category. If you look at my Instagram, I started that because when you look at it, I want it to be eye popping. Like, oh wow, this is so
Even if you look at my
stylish.
work page, I have everything the same way.
I believe it. I believe it. Yeah. That's awesome, man. So as creative individuals who have the fortune of pursuing our passions, we are sometimes affected by negativity, criticism, or even lack of recognition for our works and accomplishments in this often lonely journey. How do you handle the negative experiences or discouraging moments when you work toward your craft?
It's crazy too, because anytime something negative happens, it's like it launches me like
Yeah.
20 feet forward. It makes me like I just took the star power up from Mario.
Oh, it works the opposite for you. So you
No,
just like
yeah,
go
it
full
makes me
throttle.
grind so much
Nice.
harder because then I just want to show people that what I can actually do.
Dark energy. I love it.
It's crazy. It gives me
Yeah.
so much energy. It makes me want to go 20 times as hard.
That's so true. And even if like I know for myself, speaking from experience, even when I have those brief moments of like, no one wants to hear like your shit or like you're not gonna make it. But I know exactly what you're saying. It's like even though you feel like shit, let's say you do feel vulnerable for a second, in the back of
Mhm.
your head, you're like, I can't wait to prove these motherfuckers wrong. You know
It
what I mean?
fuels me. It
Yeah.
really does fuel
Yeah.
me.
And that's the motivation, man. That's why we keep going, right? Obviously we do it for the
Mhm.
craft, the love of the craft. But there's a part of us where we're like, nah, like just because you said I
It
can't do
sets
it.
a fire in me and
Well, because we're
it
all,
just
let's be honest, man. Like, who's crazy enough to pursue this profession? This is why I was asking you about why aren't you
you
pursuing?
gotta be crazy to
That's what I'm
pursue the
saying. Like,
profession. Just a
think
little crazy.
just a little crazy, but it's enough, right? It's like we're taking a huge risk. We don't know where it's going to end up. There's no formula to the business. So when
Mhm.
someone tells us, in a way we're rebels, someone tells us don't push that button. It's like, nah, I'm going to push it because don't tell me what
Every
to do.
time.
Yeah.
Every time.
Now, when I was growing up, I'll be honest with you, like especially my teens, my early 20s, and I was trying to like, look for something full time, and you have to follow that whole conventional suburban path. I was got this impression like maybe I'm just like, a little bit of a shit, like maybe I'm lazy, maybe I'm just like out of reach. Because people would like I couldn't sit still in an office or even in school and stuff. And what I realized, man, is like I just don't like people telling me what to do. It's like
At
that
that and,
rebellious, yeah.
and it's crazy too, because I dropped out. And no one would ever know that by the way I carry myself and by the way I work.
No, I had no idea. Never got that
I
impression from
just
me.
could never sit still. I couldn't get myself to sit there and think. Any job I ever had, I couldn't get myself to sit still. And then I picked up the camera and I couldn't stop
You just
working.
went off, bro. I love that story. Did you drop out of university or did you drop out of high
High
school?
school. High school.
Wow, that's awesome. And like this guy's gonna be the next Quentin Tarantino. This guy dropped out of high school and pursued his dream. I love that, man. It's you don't hear that often. Am I wrong?
That's
Like,
like my biggest flex at the moment. Like I dropped out of high school and I feel like anyway, that I just want to show people that no matter what your story is, you could do whatever you want.
That's awesome, man. Now let me touch on that because I'm very curious. I've never had someone on the podcast mention that, like a creative entrepreneur that dropped out of high school, because you hear that and that's like a back then story, right? Like usually people finish it and they just say fuck university or college. What was that experience like, man? Like how did your parents handle it? How did your friends, colleagues?
My mom was not happy. My mom was not happy.
Okay.
I ended up getting my equivalency, so like my GED.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
She was not happy. She was not happy at all.
No, of course.
School was just not like. It's not that I couldn't do it. Like I understood the material. I just couldn't get myself to focus and sit there.
I got you, man. Yeah, and that's and that's your superpower, right? That's what allows you to do this, right? Editing, because the people that are working those corporate jobs couldn't do what we do because it requires a lot.
And I taught myself how to edit.
And there you go. Yeah. No, same here, man. Like we didn't go to school for this. And that's why I enjoy talking to you, man. It's like, there's no ego. There's no like pretension. It's kind of like, no, this is who I am. I'm a self-taught guy. It's just like Michael Gilbert. This guy's, personal videographer.
He's from my area. He's from,
that's why.
He's from a couple cities over. He's insane. His
His
story is amazing.
Guys working closely with an A-list rapper, and it's like, I'm like, did you go to school? He's like, nah. And I'm like, does it affect you if you look for clients that ask for that? Because I'm looking for clients, right?
No one cares as long as you're putting out high quality work.
No, but there are still clients, believe it or not, man.
Nah, most definitely.
Who you're
like
looking
businesses,
for? Yeah, like businesses, bro. It's crazy, especially in Toronto. I'm from Toronto. Like some businesses are like, do you have a 4-year degree? And I'm like, do you understand there's people doing better edits than me and they don't even have an education?
It's
like,
insane.
Right? Now, luckily for me, I have a 4-year education, but still what Michael Gilbert made a very valid point is I don't go to the people that even ask for that because they don't align with my vision.
No,
right.
That's perfect.
That make sense?
That's perfect.
Yeah, because guess what? The ones that are asking for that 4-year degree, guess what? You're cookie cutter edits, bro. You're not going to be doing anything of any style or substance.
And that's the craziest part about it.
That's wild, man. I'm glad we're on the same page about that. So before we go, man, I want to know from you, what are your values as an artist that you strive to be reflected in the work you produce?
Just to put out the best work that I possibly can. I don't like putting out anything that I feel like is not at the level that I want it to be, because I feel like everyone deserves the best work that I could possibly put out, and it has my name on it. I have to.
I love that, man. Yeah, you got to respect the craft, because that's how people come around. That's how you build your clientele, and that's how you're able to argue your rate. Because poor man,
most definitely. Now I'd be walking away. I'd be like, nope, you can find someone else. You can ask someone else. I'll see you in a month when you're knocking on my door.
And that's the thing, right? It's like they'll say like, oh no, that's too high, that's too this, that's too that. And then you're curious as to like, well, where are you gonna go? Like, who else are you gonna get? And if you do get a cheaper rate, what are they gonna pull off, And I've experienced
I was thinking about it the other week. I was like, I'm gonna just start letting them go because they're gonna come back anyway. I asked around and you got the lowest number for the best price.
But also the quality speaks for itself. Like going back to what you said, like you always put the best work out there. That comes around. Like people eventually will see that. Like for example, myself, there was a client, didn't want to pay my rate, didn't even probably want to pay me, period, right? For the second video. But I'm like, listen, like I did the first one for free. Let's see, and you see the other work that comes out from down the road and you're saying, this is what they got for free. This is what they got at a discount price. I'm like, buddy, that's not hurting me. That's hurting your brand. Like, I don't know. I just, some people just don't see it like that, bro. Yeah.
And we're the people that control the market. Like in the world we live in, everything is digital. If you don't have a camera recording you, people are not going to see you.
If you don't have a social media presence,
putting out high quality content, then you're not going to be doing much.
No, well said, man. I'm glad we're on the same page and you have such a great mindset. I'm so happy that, you're also like, you don't have the humility to say like you dropped out of high school, or rather you do. Like you're not shy about it or feel different. It doesn't deter you, because a lot of people, especially our age, you know how it is. Like they wouldn't want to bring that up. They don't want to feel less than anyone.
Nah,
right?
yeah.
But you're like, nah, that's my fucking superpower, man. Like when I make it, right, like to the big leagues, I mean, that's what you're gonna say is like I was a self-taught, dropout that fucking, proved himself.
And I'm rubbing elbows up here. Come on.
Exactly, man. No, exactly. That's awesome, man. I love your energy. I love your positivity. And I wish you nothing but the best, man. Keep asking those fucking rates, right?
Thank you, man. Thank you. I appreciate you. Can't go nothing below that.
Yeah, nothing below. No, you got to keep that. Like Gary Vee said, I don't know if you follow him. Like you just keep asking up,
Love
up, up,
Gary Vee. He helped
and
me
then
a lot.
eventually,
Love Gary Vee.
yeah, man, love him. And eventually, he just fucking, someone might bite, right? But if you're always lowballing yourself, everyone's gonna think like you're that 200 guy. Like go for the fuck guy that charges 200. It's like nah, go for the guy that charges $2,000.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. I'm really happy for you, man, and I wish you nothing but the best. Thanks again for coming on the podcast.
Thank you, man. Of course, it was my pleasure.
Yeah, awesome, man. I'm really happy we had this conversation. Thank you, everybody else, for listening, and we'll talk soon.